blast off with the Fantastic Four as they recollect the origin of their powers and their first encounter with the brilliant but sinister Puppet Master. Then watch for Dick Clark as he makes a guest appearance as himself. Oh boy, hold on to your seats. This is going to be a good one. Join back up with the Fantastic Four as their battle against the insidious Puppet Master continues. Now, the Puppet Master has gained control over the Thing and over his awesome powers. So watch to see if the team can free their friend from this villain's hold over him. Oh boy, are you in for a treat with this? It's the first part of a three-part saga. Bent on revenge, Dr. Doom kidnaps Sue in order to lure the remaining members of the Fantastic Four into his clutches. Now watch and see what evils Dr. Doom has devised for our heroes. Have you ever heard the expression, out of the frying pan and into the fire? Well, that's just what happens to Reed, Johnny, and the Thing. Once they break free of Dr. Doom's traps, they find themselves prisoners once again. And things really begin to get interesting as Dr. Doom tells the tale of how he became the twisted villain that he is today. I tell you, this is one you can't afford to miss. The plot thickens in the final installment of our three-part saga. Now, forced to make a deal with Dr. Doom, Reed, Johnny, and the Thing must venture back into ancient Greece to retrieve the coffin of Argos. To make matters worse, if they don't return with the coffin in 48 hours, Sue will be crushed. Oh, you definitely don't want to miss the conclusion. The Fantastic Four started in a funny way. My then publisher was playing golf with the publisher of DC Comics, although in those days they called it National Comics. And he told him that they had a comic book called the Justice League, and it was selling very well. So my publisher came back to the office and he said, "Stan, why don't you come up with a group of heroes also, so we can have a group that'll sell well too?" So I figured, okay, that was my job, to do what he wanted, and I came up with the Fantastic Four. In all honesty, I had never seen the Justice League, so I didn't have to make it like the Justice League. My only mandate was to do a team of superheroes. I'm not sure why I made 4 members in the group. They could have been 3 or 5 or 6, but I decided I wanted a hero, one man who'd be the leader. That was Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, as he modestly calls himself. And then I wanted him to have a girlfriend, and that was Sue Storm. I felt it would be fun if there was a kid brother. That was Johnny Storm. And then I wanted somebody totally different in the group. I wanted a sort of a semi-monster who'd be very lovable. Sounded silly, but I had a feeling I could pull it off. And I figured, well, that's enough to work with. If I can make that work, it's not going to be easy, but that was it. So for some reason, I just picked those 4. The Fantastic Four set the stage, I guess, for a number of hero teams, in the sense that when other publishers and writers and the public saw how well the book did and how much fun it was to read them, they decided to put out more groups also. We even brought out the Avengers, which was based on a lot of our superheroes, putting them together. That was easier. I didn't have to create new ones. I just took superheroes who already existed. And then I did the X-Men, which was another team. Of course, it was a totally different type of team. But I realized doing the Fantastic Four that it gave me an opportunity to have a lot of wisecracks, a lot of kidding around amongst the group, and they could relate to each other. When you have a single superhero, who does he or she relate to? It makes it a little more difficult. I thought of the Fantastic Four as more than just a team, really, but a family, because after all, the way I designed them, Reed was the father of the family, so to speak, and then the heroine was really, she knew who he was. There was no secret identity, and she was engaged to him. And Johnny Storm, her brother, once they got married, he would be the brother-in-law. And of course, the Thing would be the family's best friend. So to me, they were a nice, tight-knit, familial, I think is the word, group. Instead of them just being a team who go out there and fight bad guys, I thought it'd be so interesting if their relationship was very deep. And what could be deeper than having Reed, the leader of the group, feel guilty because the one member who had been horribly affected, who had been turned into a semi-monster, because that had happened due to a project that Reed had fostered. And therefore, Reed always had this guilt feeling. And his friend, the Thing, who was an incredibly close friend, and they would have died for each other, but deep down, the friend would not have been human not to have had some sort of a lingering resentment because of what had happened to him because of Reed's project. So I thought that also gave the group a dimension and a feeling of reality. There were emotions involved that I felt the readers could relate to. It would take weeks to tell what I like most about Dr. Doom. He's my favorite villain. One of the things is, as far as I know, there had never been a villain who was the king of his own country. Now, when he came to our country, he had diplomatic immunity. So even if he committed a crime, you couldn't arrest him because he was a king of a friendly country. At least as far as we knew it was friendly. The other thing is, if you think about it, all that Dr. Doom wanted to do was rule the world. Now, you could be a jaywalker or a litter bug, and a policeman might hand you a summons. You know, if you drop some paper on the street, or if you run across the street against the light. But you could walk up to any cop or FBI man or CIA agent, and you could say, "Excuse me, I want to rule the world." That's not a crime. You can't arrest them for that. So here was the most dangerous, most powerful villain in the world who wanted to rule the entire world. There was nothing we could do about it. I mean, I got a kick out of that. All of the Fantastic Four characters were easy for me to write because if you feel you know a character, it becomes easy to write him or her. I thought I knew all four of them. When I wrote Reed's dialogue, I had him always using a lot of big words. And I always had the Thing getting annoyed with him. And can't you say something like a normal human being, you know? And I enjoyed the Human Torch, Johnny Storm, always playing tricks on the Thing and the Thing trying to retaliate. I enjoyed Sue Storm's little romance with Reed before they got married, and then whatever little domestic problems I could have come up between them after they were married. And I really enjoyed everything about the Fantastic Four. I loved writing it. The main thing that sets the Fantastic Four apart from other superheroes or groups of superheroes is the fact that they are a family. I don't know of any other group that is. And they have problems just as Spider-Man does, but some of them are the same kind of problems. They even have to worry about making a living too. I've done stories of the Fantastic Four where they were going to be evicted from their headquarters because Reed had lost a lot of money by taking their reward money and investing it in stocks, and the stock market tumbled, and Ben Grimm got very angry about that and so forth. So I gave them human problems. I think they had more human situations than most other heroes, and certainly than most other teams of heroes. I think that these new superheroes, like The Incredibles, are just great. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet. I can't wait to see it. But from what I've seen in the trailers and heard, it looks terrific. And frankly, I'm very flattered, and I think all of Marvel should be, because I think so much that's in The Incredibles was inspired by the Fantastic Four.